So, Brittany, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a realtor. Been in real estate for 6 years.
I'm going to let this realtor story slide tonight, girl. But that white cape won't cover the true Miss Brittany, girl.
She got less kids than me. I haven't met her kids yet. You know, this was like...
Just the first.
Scrappy had always believed he could hold the weight of different worlds in his hands without letting a single one slip. To him, life was a constant act of balancing plates, his music, his public image, his family, old grudges that never fully healed, and now, love. That was the word he kept repeating to himself like a silent mantra, as if saying it over and over could make it easier to carry. The sun was warm that afternoon when he pulled up to the open house, his black SUV gliding to a stop in front of a polished two-story home that almost looked like it had been staged by fate itself. Riding shotgun was Britney, her hair cascading in effortless curls, face framed in that glow she knew the cameras loved, a smile that could charm the bricks off the wall if she tried. The house stood proud, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, hardwood floors that reflected the sunlight, a manicured backyard with room for barbecues, birthday parties, and maybe, just maybe, the laughter of little ones who hadn't even been born yet. He didn't say it out loud. Not to her, not to himself, but in the quiet corners of his mind, he saw more than just a house. He saw a reset button. Not just a new address, but a new life. A chapter that might finally replace the old ones where the ink had run and the pages had curled from too many tears. Britney moved with the energy of someone already picturing her name on the deed. She was in front of him before the front door even shut behind them, her voice sweet and rhythmic as she chatted up the real estate agent like they were sorority sisters who had just reconnected. She glided through the kitchen, snapping selfies against the marble countertops, turning to catch the light just right, her voice floating with talk about open shelving, baby-proofing, and walk-in closets big enough for 2. Scrappy laughed at her enthusiasm, but deep inside, there was something else, something small and stubborn pressing against his ribs. It wasn't doubt, not exactly. It was more like a whisper of unease that wouldn't quiet down, the kind of feeling you can't explain, but you know it's there. He ignored it. He shouldn't have. When Britney turned to him, her eyes lit up with excitement. "I really want your mama to see this place," she said, her voice almost playful. "And I want Imani to feel welcome here too," and that's when Scrappy's stomach tightened and not pulling in slow motion. The last thing he wanted was to bring Mom Adi into this before he was ready, and especially not Imani, his daughter who had a radar for seeing through people. Imani wasn't one to warm up to strangers claiming instant family. But Britney insisted, brushing off his hesitation like dust from a countertop. "It's just a soft intro," she explained, her tone deliberate but wrapped in charm. "She doesn't have to like me today. I just want her to see I'm not some temporary fling." Against his better judgment, Scrappy nodded. The next day, the sound of tires on gravel made him glance out the window. Mama D had arrived, and with her came the kind of energy that could turn a room's temperature on command. She stepped out of her car like royalty on a coronation day, oversized sunglasses hiding her eyes, a floor-length cardigan flowing behind her like a cape, her walk slow and controlled, every step carrying a warning. Beside her was Imani, arms folded, phone in hand, teenage expression locked in place, part boredom, part silent protest. Scrappy greeted them like a man introducing heads of state. "Ma, Imani, this is Britney," he said, his voice steady, but his palms damp. Britney smiled, extending her hand like a diplomat. Mama D looked at it as though it were a snake ready to strike. "So, you're the one?" she said flatly, her voice like glass scraping over stone. Britney gave an awkward laugh, unsure whether to nod or joke. Imani mumbled a quick hello without lifting her eyes from her screen. Inside, the house felt different now. The warmth it had when Scrappy first stepped inside had faded, replaced by an invisible chill that clung to the air. Britney tried to steer the tour, pointing out the kitchen's natural light, the spacious bathrooms, the vaulted ceilings in the living room, but Mama D wasn't following along. Her eyes weren't admiring, they were evaluating, dissecting. She wasn't looking at the granite countertops, she was looking through them, looking for cracks. And when they reached the master bedroom, Mama D finally broke her silence. "So, what exactly do you do again, Britney?" she asked, her tone smooth but lined with an undercurrent of suspicion. "I'm a realtor," Britney replied, lifting her chin. "Been in the business for 6 years." Mama D smirked like she had just been handed an opening, 6 years selling houses, and you're looking to buy one with my son instead of selling him one? Britney didn't flinch. "We're building something real." From the corner, Imani gave a short cough. That sounded suspiciously like a laugh, earning a sharp look from Scrappy. Mama D walked toward the walk-in closet, trailing her fingers along the doorframe. "Hope this ain't no borrowed dream," she murmured under her breath. "It should have ended there." Just a little shade, a sprinkle of passive aggression, but Mama D was not the type to let something sit if it didn't feel right. That night, after the house visit, she went home and pulled out her laptop. It wasn't just curiosity. It was instinct sharpened by years of watching women come and go, some genuine, some playing a part. She typed Britney's name into search bars, social media, license registries, tagged photos. At first, it was all predictable: open house, selfies, smiling with clients, standard posts for a realtor building her brand. But then something different popped up, a tagged photo dated a little over a year ago. Britney in a sleek black dress, hand in hand with a man who was definitely not Scrappy. The caption read, "Can't believe it's been a year already. Happy anniversary, babe." Mama D leaned closer to the screen, narrowing her eyes. The man was tagged Brandon M. Wallace. She clicked. His profile was private, but his bio was public enough to make her heart pound. Husband, father, fighter. Her fingers froze over the mouse. She didn't want to jump to conclusions, not yet. Instead, she switched tabs and went to public marriage records. It took 30 minutes of navigating the state website, but when the result appeared on her screen, she sat back in her chair, staring. Britney Marie Green and Brandon Marcus Wallace, married March 2nd, 2020, and no record of divorce, none. Mama D refreshed the page as if the screen might change its mind, but the same result stared back at her, stamped with the official county seal. Britney was still married. A slow smile spread across Mama D's face, not out of joy, but out of the satisfaction that comes from confirming the itch you couldn't scratch. She had just won a battle she hadn't even stepped onto the field for yet. Now she was going to finish the war. The next morning, Scrappy was in the studio, mid-session, when his phone lit up. It was Mama D. "You need to come by, alone." His first instinct was to ask why. "I got a wedding gift for your little realtor," she said, her voice carrying that dangerous calm he knew all too well. He didn't waste time at her house. She didn't greet him with hugs. She simply slid a sheet of paper across the table. He picked it up, scanning the words, the names, the date, the seal. It felt like his stomach dropped out from under him. "Nah," he whispered, shaking his head. "This can't be real." Mama D crossed her arms. "It's real. She married, baby, and she lying to you." State of Georgia says so. Scrappy sat in silence, the weight of every conversation, every promise, every "I love you" suddenly feeling counterfeit. Finally, he stood up. "I'm gonna talk to her," he muttered. Mama D leaned back in her chair. "Do that, but do it before I do. Because if I get to her first, I promise you it won't be quiet." Later that night, Scrappy didn't storm into the conversation like some wild scene from the reunion stage. He didn't need to. The betrayal had already burned through him, enough to leave him quiet, and that quiet was heavier than shouting. He invited Britney over, keeping his voice level on the phone. When she arrived, she walked in like it was any other evening, dressed down in a soft sweater and jeans, her curls pulled back, her smile uncertain. She sat down across from him, trying to read his mood, but before she could ask, he placed the printed marriage record in the center of the table between them. She stared at it, her eyes scanning the names, the date, the seal, as if she could somehow will the words to disappear. Her lips parted, but all that came out was a shaky "I." Was going to tell you when Scrappy's voice was calm but loaded. When it was time, when it made sense. She rubbed her hands together nervously. It's complicated. His eyes narrowed. Complicated? Either you're divorced or you're not. Britney sighed, her shoulders dropping. We're separated. He lives in Alabama. I haven't seen him in over a year. Scrappy leaned back, his jaw tightening. Still married, though she nodded, her eyes glassy. I didn't want to lose you. You lied. He said simply. I was scared, she whispered. Scrappy turned away, walking toward the window. Outside, the street lamps lit the road, but his focus was miles away. You could have told me the truth. I would have respected you more. She reached for his arm, but he stepped aside. You brought my mama into this, my daughter. You let them think you were the future when you hadn't even closed the past. The silence after that was suffocating. I'm sorry, she said again, softer this time. But sorry wasn't going to glue the pieces back together. Not this time. Not this time. Mama D, meanwhile, was not the type to stay quiet and let a situation play out. She had given Scrappy space to handle it first, but when she started hearing that Britney was still posting like everything was fine, still flaunting real estate listings online, still wearing that silver ring she'd once claimed was just a fashion statement, her patience broke. And when Mama D's patience cracked, it wasn't a leak, it was a flood. She showed up at Britney's office without warning, heels clicking against the tile floor like gunfire. Dressed in a fitted black suit with pearls around her neck, her purse matched her shoes and her expression matched a storm, Britney was behind her desk, iced coffee in hand, scrolling through her phone like the world outside wasn't sharpening its knives. The moment she looked up and saw Mama D standing there, the color drained from her face. You lied to my son, Mama D started. Voice steady but sharp. You lied to my granddaughter. And you smiled in my face while you were still married to another man. Britney opened her mouth, but Mama D's hand shot up like a stop sign. Don't even try it. You had time to sell houses, take vacations, and play family with my son. But you couldn't find time to file your papers. Britney stood up, her voice trembling. I never meant to hurt Scrappy. I love him. That marriage, it's been over for years, then free yourself. Mama D snapped. Until then, it's just excuses, and I'm too old for fairy tales. The moment hung heavy until Britney sank back into her chair, her confidence stripped down to bare wood. I was scared of losing him, she admitted. Mama D's eyes narrowed. You should have been scared of me. That exchange didn't stay private for long. Someone, maybe a receptionist, maybe a nosy client, had recorded part of the conversation and leaked it online. By sunset, the clip was on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The comments were merciless. Memes of the marriage certificate popped up with captions like, "This listing isn't cleared yet, sis." Blog pages ran headlines like, "Love and hip-hops." New villain, the comparisons to past infamous liars in the franchise came fast. And just when Britney thought the storm might slow down, another wave hit. 3 days later, Scrappy's DMs lit up with a message from a verified account. Brandon Wallace, the husband, his message was short and surgical. Tell your girl to stop pretending she's single. If she doesn't make it legal soon, I will. Attached was a fresh screenshot of the marriage license, but this time it came with a selfie Brandon, shirtless, holding a baby on his hip, grinning like the devil. The caption read, "Family over fraud." Scrappy just stared at it, his chest heavy. This wasn't just Britney lying anymore. This was someone using the truth as a weapon. When Britney showed up that night, she looked different, no makeup. Hoodie, hair pulled back, she looked stripped down to the bone. She sat on the couch across from him. He was supposed to file, she said before he even asked. We separated in 2021, he moved out. I thought it was over, he's mad I moved on. Mad I found someone better. Scrappy didn't blink. Is that his kid? He asked. Britney froze. Is that his kid? He repeated. She turned her face away. Yes, the word hit him like a brick. So you had a baby with a man you're still married to and didn't tell me? It was before you and me got serious, she said quickly. I didn't think, or didn't want to tell me the truth. his voice rose for the first time. "I didn't want to lose what we had," she whispered. He shook his head. "What we had was real until I found out you still belonged to somebody else." Those words seemed to slice through her, but he wasn't finished. "You don't get to make yourself the victim here. You had every chance to come clean." The fallout moved faster than either of them could keep up with. VH1 producers who once pitched Britney as a polished, sophisticated new queen in Scrappies. Life started shifting gears. Editing bays began stitching together a new version of her darker lighting, ominous music cues, cutaways lingering on every smirk, every side eye. She was no longer the love interest. She was the plot twist. Even Imani, who had mostly stayed quiet, posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Ain't no bonus moms in my story, just actors." It went viral instantly. And then came Brandon's next move. TMZ caught him outside an Atlanta courthouse holding papers. "I'm filing for full custody of my daughter," he told reporters. Her mom's too busy playing girlfriend to file her divorce. The footage was everywhere within hours. The Shade Room, blog channels, YouTube gossip panels. Tasha K even did a live stream calling it the realest mess I've seen this year and promised an exclusive. Scrappy tried to protect what was left of his image. He canceled appearances, posted a vague statement about family privacy, and went quiet. But Mama D, she turned the situation into a brand. She started doing podcasts about vetting people, quoting Bible verses about truth, even selling coffee mugs that read married but mute in gold letters. When someone asked if she'd ever accept Britney back, she smiled. "God forgives." I remember, meanwhile, Britney was cornered. Her public image was crumbling, her ex was loud, her lover was cold, and now her reputation was bleeding across every gossip page. She decided to fight back. She started doing interviews, posting cryptic captions like, "I owe no one my truth." But the truth she didn't know was that there was one more card in play, and it was about to end her completely. Hidden away in VH1's archives was footage from camera to a side angle from weeks before the scandal broke, filmed in Britney's own office. The clip caught her pacing on the phone, saying, "No, I can't do this right now. Brandon, if the papers come late, just hold them. I'm not ruining this over technicalities. I'm almost in." When the footage leaked, it exploded. Fans debated who she meant. Scrappy. VH1, a bigger plan. The most damning theory was that she'd been playing the relationship for clout, contracts, and cash out. By the time Scrappy saw the clip, the courts were already circling. Brandon requested a full investigation, accusing Britney of using their marriage for tax benefits while denying him in public. Scrappy closed his laptop after watching, rubbing his face. "I'm done," he muttered and sent Britney a text. "We need to talk." But she didn't know that the location for that talk had already been set. Family court. The morning of the hearing felt like the city itself was holding its breath. The air outside the courthouse thick with humidity and whispers as cameras clicked and cell phones tilted to catch every arrival. And when Britney stepped out of the black SUV flanked by her legal team, she wore no makeup and no smile, just a tight bun and a still gaze that gave nothing away. While inside, Scrappy was already seated near the front, his shoulders squared, his eyes locked straight ahead, his stillness the kind that says the storm has already passed inside him and only the wreckage remains. And a few rows back sat Mama D, draped in a fur-trimmed blazer, her pearls perfectly set, a slight grin tugging at her lips like she was savoring a sermon she'd been waiting to preach. The judge entered and the chatter fell to silence, and after the formalities were read, the clerk rolled out the big gun, the now infamous camera, to clip the grainy side-angle footage that showed Britney pacing in her office weeks before the scandal broke. Phone to her ear, voice low but clear enough for everyone to hear her say, "No, I can't do this right now. Brandon, if the papers come late, just hold them. I'm not ruining this over technicalities. I'm almost in." And the words seemed to hang in the courtroom air like smoke that refused to clear as the camera caught her stopping mid-stride, listening, then nodding to whatever Brandon was saying on the other end before ending the call and exhaling like she just sealed a deal. And when the footage ended, the judge leaned forward, expression unreadable, as opposing counsel moved in like a shark, pointing out how this was not an accidental oversight, but an active, strategic concealment of her marital status to maintain the appearance of a clean slate while leveraging a high-profile romance for contracts. social gain, and screen time, and while Britney's lawyer fought back with claims of separation, promises unfulfilled by Brandon, and emotional strain, the weight of the judge's silence was louder than any cross-examination, until he finally turned to Britney and asked one simple question when she knew the divorce filing hadn't happened. Did she tell Mr. Richardson? And her pause, her soft no, was the moment everyone in that room felt the floor tilt. During recess, the hallways turned into a live taping without the credits, with Tasha K stationed like a sniper outside the exit, her crew ready catching Brandon as he strutted out to declare he was protecting his child, while Mama D glided past with her thermos, tossing over her shoulder to a nearby camera, God sees, and I remember, and Scrappy slipped away without a word, finding a quiet corner to breathe. When court resumed, the judge allowed the footage for limited purpose in the custody discussion, condemned Brandon's public antics as reckless, ordered immediate action on the divorce filing, and warned against blurring legal lines for TV drama, and though the ruling was procedural, its effect was personal outside. VH1 executives were already redrawing the season arc, blog sites lit up with think pieces, and watch parties were planned for the reunion where viewers hoped for blood, but that night Scrappy went home in silence, texting Imani to check in and getting back nothing more and nothing less than a plain-colored heart emoji that meant more than any headline, while across town Britney sat alone at her dining table, pen in hand over divorce papers, her daughter asleep in the next room, signing each page with a slow, deliberate hand, whispering I'm sorry into the quiet without knowing if it was for Scrappy, for her child, for herself, or for the girl she used to be before the lies swallowed her. And by morning, Scrappy had said no to 3 messy interview offers, yes to 1 studio session, posted a video cooking with Imani with no caption, no hashtags, just laughter, while Mama D uploaded a photo of her devotional beside her gold-lettered married but mute mug, liking a few comments and ignoring the rest, and Britney, for the first time in years, moved without performance. She filed the divorce quietly. No photos, no speeches, no spin, just the paperwork sliding across a clerk's desk like a chapter finally closing. But not before Tasha K dropped her promised exclusive, calling out both Brandon's stunts and Britney's silence, crediting Scrappy for stepping back instead of burning it all down, and wrapping it with a truth even the loudest fans couldn't twist, that sometimes the real story isn't about the ring you wear, the papers you sign, or the cameras that follow you, but about what's left standing when the applause stops and the lie is gone. A truth hammered home 1 week later when the reunion trailer dropped quick cuts, sharp voices, and then Mama D staring straight into the lens and delivering the line that detonated the internet. Next time you try to join royalty, make sure your name ain't still tied to the peasants. Fade to black. Comments exploding, hashtags flying, but in the real world, Scrappy was in his kitchen, phone face down, letting the noise spin without him, finally breathing like a man who had outlived the